Oh, okay, so this is getting a bit ridiculous, I must admit. Wizards, I think you've got a problem. You need to slow down. It can't always be spoiler season, Wizards. And yes, I know some products got pushed back and whatnot, but maybe then you've got too many products if we just have spoilers every other week. Or not even every other week, just every week, apparently. A new spoiler season. Warhammer, then Infinity, which was already just right after Dominator United, apparently. And now we're up to Brothers War, apparently. This early sneak peek, which they could have probably just pushed back. We really didn't need this right now. Now, that being said, there are some incredible cards out there, and I have to talk about them because, my goodness, does it make me excited for Brothers War? I mean, again, Wizards, we can hold off on the previews until then, okay? Please? Stop, okay? We're done. But yeah, for now and for today, I'm going to cover, and hopefully please just keep it at this, Wizards, the 4 incredibly exciting cards that they previewed yesterday. So, bear with me, everyone. We're back at it temporarily. Here we go. And this one very well might be the most powerful Planeswalker ever. Oh yeah, and before we jump into it, blame Eddie for all of Eddie's help on all these. And yeah, it's definitely Eddie's fault that Wizards just keeps putting out these spoiler seasons. It's definitely Eddie's fault. Anyways, let's jump into it. Alright, so Urza, Lord Protector, and you might be saying, wait, that wasn't the image in the thumbnail? We'll get to that. Here we go. Urza, Lord Protector is a 2/4 human artificer that costs 1 white blue. He has artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. And by paying 7, if you both own and control Urza, Lord Protector, and an artifact named the Mightstone and Weakstone, exile them, then meld them into Urza Planeswalker, activate only as a sorcery. Now, you might be thinking, okay, yes, there actually are, in Magic's history, a card named Mightstone and a card named Weakstone. Yeah, we're not using those. Because, yeah, having each of those doesn't help us out, but there is a new card that we'll talk about here in a bit. But, yeah, I mean, melding is back, and we'll talk about that as well. But first up, I mean, even without melding this commander and flipping it over, the front side is incredibly powerful. I mean, I already talked about, not too long ago, again, Dominator United spoiler season came out. I talked about Sten, which is kind of like Urza, but, slightly different. This is already kind of at that level, if not higher. This is just, again, considering just the front side, and that's an incredibly powerful commander as it is. Because whereas Sten allows you to, kind of pick and choose card types other than creature or land, this one's like, no, you get 3. You get artifacts, instants, and sorceries. So yeah, this one's probably more powerful than that one, even though it does cost 1 more anyways. And again, that's just considering the front side, because yeah, reduction, especially on artifacts, is an incredibly powerful and even broken thing. And on top of that, saving, mana on your spells, instant sorceries as well is huge. So yeah, this low to the ground commander can save you a ton of mana throughout the game, which of course, if you want to get yourself set up to actually get to that point where you can, meld it, you can do that pretty easily. So sure, you can build this deck with that in mind to meld it. You can build it with, it in mind to just utilize the front side of this card, or you can do a little bit of both. Whatever you really want to do with this, you're probably going to end up with a pretty powerful deck around Urza. Now with that said, let's talk about this new card, the Mightstone and Weakstone, in case you do want to meld this. And the Mightstone and Weakstone is a legendary artifact, Power Stone. I'm not sure if that's the first time that we actually had Power Stone or not. That costs 5. Just checked. Yep, looks like it, as long as the Scryfall search is correct. Yeah, there's only 1 Power Stone apparently out there. There might be some erratas here in the future. But anyways, when it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Draw 2 cards, or target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. So obviously, these are the 2 halves of, the Mightstone and the Weakstone. The Mightstone's like, cool, here you go, draw 2 cards. The Weakstone's like, that thing gets weaker. So this is either basically, a way to get some card advantage, which is lovely, or a way to just probably take, the vast majority of creatures out, because, 5 toughness is a decent amount, and yeah, this can take out even something that big. But of course, that's not all! And that sounds kind of like an infomercial. Anyways, tap 4 colorless. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. So this is definitely not the most efficient, 5 mana artifact out there. 5 mana rock. Gilded Lotus, those kinds, tap for 3 essentially. This only taps for 2. That being said, obviously you do get, additional benefits, from the drawing 2 cards or taking, something out. On top of, it being able to meld with Urza. Regardless, keep in mind that obviously this mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. That's very specific, and it's worded in this way. So yeah, you can use it to cast artifacts, but you could also use it, for activated abilities, like Urza's. So obviously this can actually help you activate, that 7 mana requirement. And you're probably going to want to do that pretty quickly, because when your opponents see that you have gotten, both Urza in play as well as this, yeah, they're not going to want to see that other side, because here we go. We have Urza Planeswalker, and somebody explained to me, did Urza just put the Might Stone and Weak Stone in his eyes because ouch? Anyways, lore mages out there, please let me know. Anyways, Urza Planeswalker is of course an Urza Planeswalker that has 7 starting loyalty and says, you may activate the loyalty abilities of Urza Planeswalker twice each turn rather than only once. My goodness. And this Urza has 5 loyalty abilities. Please let me know in the comments below. I believe that's a record. I could be wrong. I mean, Jace, the Mind Sculptor, I believe had 4. So yeah, 5 is a ton. And when you can activate these twice, here we go. +2. Artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 2 less to cast. You gain 2 life. Okay. Gross. Yeah, again, the front of this card is hey, artifacts, instant, sorceries cost 1 less, and that's already very good and broken in certain circumstances. And this is no, if we activate this twice, we'll gain 4 life. Cool, who cares about that? Anyways, we get to make our artifacts, instant, sorceries cost 4 less in total, which is incredibly hard not to break, essentially. So yeah, I mean, if you get this flipped, you probably just win right there from that. But if not, let's keep going. +1, draw 2 cards and discard a card, so great card advantage again. If you want to activate that one twice, cool. Draw 4, discard 2, that's great. Or how about 0? Create 2 1/1 color soldier artifact creature tokens. So yeah, I mean, activate that twice, get 4 creatures for, the price of 0 loyalty. Sign me up for that. Or how about, if you need to get rid of some things, -3, exile target non-land permanent. So yeah, you could do that twice if you really wanted to right away, getting Urza down to 1 loyalty, but still, there are 2 pesky permanents in play. Take them out. Or, speaking of taking things out, how about -10, the ultimate? Artifacts and planeswalkers you control gain indestructible until end of turn, destroy all non-land permanents. So you protect all of your things and you take out everyone else's. And yeah, I mean, basically a one-sided board wipe. I mean, obviously you don't protect, anything that's non-artifact or a planeswalker, but we'll talk about some ways to basically protect everything. And yeah, that ultimate is obviously quite easy to get to because in 1 turn, again, you can activate twice, so just +2/+2, that's already 11. Next turn, you can literally just -10. It only takes 1 turn to do that. And of course, yeah, there are ways to get more counters on this more quickly, so you could actually probably do it on the first turn. Anyways, an incredibly powerful melded commander. That, again, is most likely just game ending right when it comes down, and you +2 twice because your opponents are going to be in big trouble when you can just, reduce the cost of your important spells in your deck by 4. Not that those other abilities aren't great to have and yeah, can really help you out, but yeah, I mean, if you build a deck around this, I mean, even on the front side, you can easily utilize the backside to storm off and win too. And I probably should have mentioned this earlier, melding cards, as you can kind of see, in the middle of the card, it's basically just the backside of each of the cards. So again, you've got Urza Lord Protector, you flip that over, you've got, the Might Stone the Weak Stone, you flip that over, and then you have, half and half of this card, so you basically just kind of push them together. Then you have one giant card. But yeah, a very impressive, appearance for the very first time we've ever seen Urza as a Planeswalker. And yeah, I mean, again, being able to activate twice, having 5 incredibly, powerful abilities, definitely shows off the power potential of a Planeswalker pre-mending. Now, really quick, before we jump into the cards that I would utilize to build around this commander, and actually I probably should have mentioned in the comments below, make sure you check out my link in the description below for the list of cards I'm talking about on this episode. If you are interested in this commander, I can probably guarantee you it's going to be a very, very popular one. I mean, I guess I can't guarantee, but yeah, brand new, powerful, incredibly powerful Urza. Probably a good bet to say this is going to be pretty popular. So yeah, if you're looking to build around this commander, maybe consider picking up some of these cards sooner rather than later. And before we jump into the cards, though, yeah, I mean, we haven't seen melding for quite some time. I think the most popular kind of melding combination that we've ever seen. I think there's only 3 total. I mean, this would be the 4th with Urza. Anyways, the most popular one, I believe, is Gisela, Bruna, and Bracella. Basically, you get both of them in play and then they meld together. There is no activated requirement out of these. So yeah, this Urza kind of is a new, different way to go about that. But of course, with the melded combination, if you are able to, get them together, you get a much more powerful version with both of them combined. And the same is, of course, true for Urza. And actually, I believe they mentioned that there's going to be one more meld, and I think that's going to be Mishra, which we should see at some point in spoiler season. So yeah, stay tuned for that one. And again, hopefully Wizards gives us just a little bit of a break before, spoiling everything. Spoiler season is apparently never ending. That aside, anyways, if I was to build around this incredibly powerful commander, yeah, I mean, I would have a ton of efficient mana rocks in the deck. I mean, of course, Sol Ring is a good one to consider. I mean, obviously, Sol Ring with Urza in play is just free Sol Ring. Literally, because again, Urza's like, hey, your artifacts cost 1 less. And Sol Ring's like, oh, I only cost 1. Cool. Get into play, tap for 2. Instant fantastic ramp. And yeah, you can nearly cast Thran Dynamo with that. So yeah, Thran Dynamo costs 4. Again, with Urza in play, costs 3. Taps for 3. It is going to be incredibly easy for you, again, if you dedicate enough spots to ramping, to be able to essentially, flip Urza over very, very quickly. Once you get the Might Stone and Weak Stone as well, we'll talk about that. Anyways, Everflowing Chalice is another great one, a very flexible mana rock, multi-kicker too, comes in play with that many charge counters on it, and 8 times for each of those charge counters, so yeah, you've got access to a lot of great mana rocks, so utilize them effectively with this commander, and again, you can do things very quickly with that cost reduction that comes from your command zone. But of course, another direction that you can take this commander is combo, and I believe I went through like this entire combo and stuff like that within the Sten episode back in Dama United, which again wasn't that far, long ago. Regardless, Sensei's Divining Top, Mystic Forge, yeah, basically an infinite storm combo, or I should say semi-infinite, and of course there are other kind of pieces that you could utilize, like the Reality Chip instead of Mystic Forge. Anyways, Sensei's Divining Top says pay 1, look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order, which is lovely, but the part that matters here in this combo is tap, draw a card, then put Sensei's Divining Top on top of its owner's library. Again, since this costs 1, with Urza in play, it costs nothing, so this is just free, which makes it combo with Mystic Forge in this circumstance. An artifact for 4, which again with Urza is just 3. Look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast the top card of your library if it's an artifact card or a colorless non-land card. Basically, yeah, the top of our library is now an extension of our hand, so yeah, get Sensei's Divining Top into play for free. Tap it, draw a card, put Sensei's Divining Top on top of our library. Mystic Forge is like, oh cool, hey, look, Sensei's Divining Top's on top of our library. Do you want to cast it? Yes, I would, for free again, because Urza reduces that cost. Get it back out into play, tap it, draw another card. Essentially, you can just keep doing this, drawing your entire deck. And yeah, the Reality Chip can replace Mystic Forge, so can Future Sight. Essentially, there are different ways to be able to cast the top of your library, but Mystic Forge being an artifact, and one that doesn't require it to be attached to anything like the Reality Chip, this is probably the best one out of all of them. So of course, this Urza has combo potential without you even needing to flip over to that back side, by melding it. But when you do, obviously, it's got even more combo potential with, again, a potential cost reduction of 4 instead of just 1. But yeah, I mean, when you are kind of comboing off again in this manner, yeah, I mean, you basically have, absurd storm count. You were drawing essentially your entire deck. Eventually, I just draw into and play something like Aetherflux Reservoir, an artifact for 4. Again, front side of Urza, 3, and back side of Urza, if you +2 twice, 0 for this. Whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn, which of course is going to be an absurd amount, and yeah, pay 50 life, it's going to deal 50 damage to our creature or player. So essentially just zap everyone down. Now of course there are other ways to actually take your opponents out, like there's some storm cards, like Temporal Fissure I believe is the one, that can essentially bounce everything back to their owner's hands, including lands. So yeah, just bounce all of your opponent's lands, they lose essentially with that. I mean, sure, you can keep playing if you really want to, but you're going to be able to keep comboing in there at nothing. So yeah, plenty of ways to win from there, and yeah, this commander has scary combo potential, again, even without having to flip. Next up, some other kinds of cards you're going to want to include and consider are going to be ones that actually benefit you whenever you're casting those spells. So yeah, like Riddlesmith. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. And while this isn't, card advantage, it is fantastic card selection, some great looting. You can get rid of dead cards in your hand, get more cards that you actually need, and utilize them and just keep going. But speaking of card advantage, Vidalcan Archmage is just straight up card advantage. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, draw a card. So, of course, you can draw an absurd amount of cards with this, and yeah, I mean, some gross things can really happen. I mean, Urza in play. Okay, I'll play a Soul Ring for free. Cool! Alright, I just basically, ramped for free, and also I drew a card. Good luck, opponents, once you get things going and set up. Or how about Flux Channeler? Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, proliferate. Now, of course, this one can help out with things like, charge counters, like, Everflowing Chalice, which can get ridiculous. But, of course, also, if you flip Urza over, or I keep saying flipping, but you're melding, you know what I mean. Anyways, when Urza is the Planeswalker side, yeah, you can get a lot of counters on it very quickly with something like this, and easily ultimate right away if you want to. Though, do keep in mind, of course, that would take out these, non-artifact, non-planeswalker, creatures like these. So, yeah, I mean, just keep that in mind. But, of course, I'll talk about a way here in a bit to actually save them. And, of course, Flux Channeler also cares about non-creature spells, in general, not just artifacts. So, yeah, instant sorceries you can also benefit from. And, of course, you can also benefit from those with things like Archmage Emeritus and Jace's Sanctum. Archmage Emeritus says whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, draw a card. So, yeah, basically like a Vidalcan Archmage, but instead of it, being for artifacts, it's for your instant sorceries. So yeah, you can get a ton of value out of this throughout the game with an Urza deck. Or how about Jace's Sanctum, which helps out in multiple ways. Instant sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So this plus Urza equals, yeah, I mean, just on the front side of Urza, this is just, your instant sorceries cost 2 less, which is ridiculous. And of course, on top of that, whenever you cast instant or sorcery spell, scry 1. So this can help you dig down through your deck very quickly, getting to the cards that you actually need. And again, while scrying isn't card advantage, it is fantastic card selection. Now, one kind of wacky and off the wall card that I just always have in my mind, it's got to be broken in certain circumstances. And yeah, one that is quite funny with Urza is View from Above. It says target creature gains flying until end of turn. If you control a white permanent, return View from Above to its owner's hand. Urza, again, reduces the cost of this down to just a single mana at instant speed. And of course, Urza itself is a white permanent, so yeah, you can just keep getting this back again and again and again for a single mana. So again, if you've got Archmage Emeritus or, Jace's Sanctum in play, you can keep getting value out of casting spells again and again and again. And speaking of other instant sorceries to consider, let's talk about cards like Snap, Frantic Search, and Tezzeret's Gambit. Snap says return target creature to its owner's hand, untap up to 2 lands. Again, with Urza in play, just with the front side, yeah, this is just going to cost a single mana. So we get to untap 2 lands for 1 mana, bouncing a creature at the same time, obviously. But yeah, this basically just nets us mana. Speaking of which, there's Frantic Search. I mean, again, 2 and a blue, so front side of Urza, that's just 1 and a blue, 2 mana, or, back side of Urza, if we plus 2 even just once, that is going to be just a single mana, draw 2, discard 2, so loot 2 essentially, untap up to 3 lands. So this can help us dig through our deck, and obviously, again, also net us even more mana than Snap. Or how about a card like Tezzeret's Gambit, which helps out in a different way, draw 2 cards and proliferate. So yeah, again, I mean, this one with Urza, it's got a converted mana cost of 4, but again, that is a Phyrexian blue up there. So just with the front side of Urza, we can just cast this for 2 mana to draw 2 cards and also proliferate. So yeah, I mean, obviously, proliferating can help with things like, Everflowing Chalice or those kind of charge counters. Or again, if we have the backside of Urza, well, we can basically just cast this for free and obviously also get more counters on Urza too. Now, of course, if you are trying to meld Urza, well, you definitely need to have some artifact tutors to ensure that you can actually get the Mightstone, Weakstone. So yeah, Fabricate, definitely a good, very simple one. You've got tons of options in these colors, though. But yeah, Fabricate, very straightforward. Hey, 3 mana. Again, with Urza, it's just basically 2 mana, right? Search your library for an artifact card, available in your hand, then shuffle your library. Yeah, I mean, 2 mana to go get the, piece that actually helps you meld Urza into the disgustingly powerful Planeswalker. Yeah, I mean, you're going to want to consider tutors like this one. And of course, also make sure that you're considering, I think like Reshape or like, other spells like that actually get artifacts into play right away, or like Word of Invention, so you can just combo out of nowhere essentially, or you're not combo, but I guess, meld out of nowhere. You know what I mean? You still got to pay for the 7, but again, you're going to be ramping a ton with this deck. And if you are, again, leaning really heavily into actually, setting yourself up and melding Urza so it becomes the Planeswalker, yeah, you can consider cards like, Oath of Teferi, the Chain Veil, and Mycosynth Lattice. Oath of Teferi says, when it enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent you control, return that card to the battlefield under its control at the beginning of the next end step. I believe if you actually blinked your Urza, it would unmeld. I could be wrong on that. But yeah, probably don't do that. Anyways, you may activate the loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers you control twice each turn rather than only once. I believe this would allow you to activate Urza an additional time. Rules lawyers out there, help me please. Thank you. But yeah, if you can get additional activations out of Urza, I mean, activating 3 times in a turn is absurd. So obviously also the Chain Veil can come in really handy. I mean, usually costs 4. In this case, it only costs 3 with Urza, or again, if you already have the backside of Urza, 0. Pay 4, tap for each Planeswalker you control, may activate one of its loyalty abilities once this turn, as though none of its loyalty abilities have been activated this turn. Now, of course, another card I want to bring up, though, is Mycosynth Lattice. Again, if you are able to get to that ultimate, which again is very easy once you get to that backside of Urza, yeah, I mean, this can essentially just protect all of your things. It says all permanents are artifacts in addition to their other types. So again, Urza destroys all non-land permanents on the board except for your artifacts and your planeswalkers, and now, well, all of your non-land permanents are also artifacts, so those are going to be protected. So just something to keep in mind depending on what way you're actually building this. And of course, another way to build this, I mean, considering that cost reduction, again, of either 1 on the front or 4 on the back, for instance, sorceries and artifacts, extra turns, temporal manipulation, take an extra turn for this one, usually would cost 5 mana. The front side of Urza just costs 4 mana, which is ridiculous. And with the backside, insane, just 2 mana. Because again, you can activate Urza twice. Anyways, good luck to your opponents ever doing anything ever again once you're set up properly. I mean, even the backside of Urza, I mean, Karn's Temporal Sundering is just 2 mana. Target player takes an extra turn for this one. Bounce, target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Exile Karn's Temporal Sundering. Good luck, opponents, with, if you are building an extra turns Urza deck. Good luck, anyone. Even an artifact can help you out, like, Gonti's Aether Heart. Whenever another artifact enters battlefield under your control, you get 2 energy counters by paying 8 energy, exile Gonti's Aether Heart, take an extra turn after this one. Of course, with a cost reduction, it's going to take you absolutely no time to get to that amount of energy, so yeah, there are plenty of ways to take extra turns, and if you're going with that build, well, you probably should ask your play group, or those of your LGS first, because extra turns can kind of rub some players the wrong way with you just, monopolizing the time for the table. And actually, Storm decks can as well. So, yeah, basically, you probably should just ask your opponents if they're okay with playing against this Urza. But yeah, now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to give you my final thoughts on, well, okay, the Might Stone and Weak Stone, Urza Lord Protector, and the backside, Urza Planeswalker. I really like that they brought Meld back, and yeah, that kind of allows them to, up that power level of, that combined card, because, yeah, the front side of Urza Lord Protector is still very, very powerful, and again, broken in certain builds. You just need 1 cost reduction to, again, go infinite with certain combos. But throwing in the requirement of having an additional card in play and paying to actually meld them, I think is really cool. And yeah, again, it allows you to have an absurd Planeswalker on the back, probably the most powerful Planeswalker of all time. I mean, being able to activate abilities twice instead of just once, and then also having the potential with just that, to +2 and reduce the cost of your important spells by 4 is ridiculous. On top of also, getting to, an ultimate, next turn, if you really need it. If you really need to take everything out, next turn, cool, go for it. One-sided board wipe. So yeah, I really like the design of this. I can see players being very excited about it. And yeah, again, if you're one of those players and you want to pick up some of these cards, make sure you check out that link in the description below, because yeah, when new exciting commanders like this one are spoiled, sometimes cards that work well with it tend to go up in price sooner rather than later. And of course, stay tuned to this channel for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers, hopefully just today. Please, Wizards, slow down with the spoilers, okay? Okay? I think you've got a little bit of a problem, okay?
And with that, this show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are, and as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.